Hi, I'm going to read a book to you called Mammolina, a story about Maria Montessori, because it's almost her birthday. On August 31st, the very last day of the month of August, is Maria Montessori's birthday. Now, she's not living anymore, but we can still celebrate her birthday. You know, our school is named after her, and there are lots of schools all over the world named after her. So let's read this book and figure out why. Mammolina, a story about Maria Montessori, by Barbara O'Connor. Illustrations by Sarah Campitelli. So exciting. Chapter 1, School Days. Here's an illustration. In a dark, crowded schoolroom in Rome, Italy, a group of girls sat in long rows, sewing silently. Their heads were bowed in concentration. They sat very straight, with their long skirts smoothed neatly over their legs. One of those girls was Maria Montessori. Maria didn't mind doing needlework. It wasn't as boring as reciting lessons. At least when she was sewing, she could think about more interesting things. Sometimes she tried to imagine what school was like for the boys. In 1870, most people thought it wasn't proper for boys and girls to sit together in the same classroom. Were the boys sitting on some hard benches? Were they reciting the same dull lessons? Was their teacher standing at the front of the room, reading the same words over and over? One thing Maria knew for sure: they were not doing needlework. As a young child, Maria was not particularly ambitious about schoolwork. She was content to receive awards for lavori domestici, which means women's work. The needlework she worked at so intently, although she got good grades in all of her subjects. Like many girls her age, 9-year-old Maria wanted to be an actress. Rome had many theaters, so Maria thought there must be a lot of acting jobs. She knew that if she didn't become an actress, there was not much else to do except become a teacher. But teachers were stern-faced, bored women who did nothing but read lessons to stern-faced, bored girls. No, she would not like to be a teacher. On the playground, Maria was usually the leader. She had such an air of authority about her that the other children found themselves naturally following her orders. Sometimes her playmates thought she was bossy and rude, but Maria either didn't notice or didn't care. She was a happy, self-confident child. Ever since Maria was born in 1870, Renilde Montessori had hoped her daughter would be able to do things that hadn't been proper for a girl growing up in Renilde's time. Renilde was a bright, well-educated woman who encouraged her daughter to read, ask questions, and study hard. She thought it was important for girls to have a good education. With her mother's influence, Maria began to enjoy her studies more and more. Renilde was pleased when Maria showed a special interest in mathematics. Perhaps Maria had inherited her talent for working with numbers from her father, Alessandro, who was an accountant. To Maria, reading a math book was just as much fun as playing with dolls. Once, she even took a math book to the theater and read during the performance. By the time she was 12, Maria was thinking more and more about her future. She would be graduating from primary school soon. For most girls in Italy in the 1800s, primary school was as far as their education went. But Maria began to realize that she didn't want to quit school to become an actress. She wanted to continue her education instead. She knew it wasn't impossible. Some girls went on to secondary school, But there was just one problem. Most of them studied literature and languages at the classical school. Maria wasn't interested in Greek and Latin. She was interested in mathematics, which was taught at the technical school. Very few girls attended the technical school, but that didn't bother Maria. She decided she was going to study math. Maria was quite pleased with her decision. Her father, however, was not so pleased. Technical school was for boys, he told her. And math? Why on earth would a girl need to study math? The very idea was appalling. Maria would not give up easily. She tried to convince him. She argued. Then she begged. But Alessandro would not listen. Here's a picture. Here's an illustration. Isn't that a beautiful drawing? Maria was heartbroken. Why couldn't he understand? It seemed natural that his only child would share his love of math. But Alessandro had old-fashioned ideas, and he was not a man who welcomed change. Young girls needed wit and charm, not math, he thought. And most of Italian society agreed with him. Luckily, Renilde supported Maria's decision to attend technical school without hesitation. Perhaps she saw in Maria the adventurous young girl she herself had always wanted to be. Her daughter was a bit of a rebel, and Renilde loved it. Alessandro was no match for his stubborn wife and daughter. Reluctantly, he gave in. Maria would enter technical school in the fall of 1883, just after her 13th birthday. That summer seemed to last for years. Maria passed the time by reading and doing needlework, but mostly she thought about school. What would it be like? It didn't take long for Maria to discover that going to school with boys was no more interesting than going to school with girls. She enjoyed learning more about history and geography, and she was eager to study new subjects, such as calligraphy and Italian literature. But the classes were always the same. The students sat at their desk for hours, memorizing and repeating rules from a text. Even math, her favorite subject, was boring. If only she could ask questions or try an experiment, or at least move on to the next lesson, learning would be more fun. But Maria was determined to finish school. She did not even consider quitting. After a few years in technical school, Maria decided to become an engineer. Even though most of the other students planned to be engineers too, Maria dreaded telling her father. She could just imagine how he would react. But engineering is for boys, he would say. Well, Maria was right. Alessandro was shocked and confused by his daughter's decision. Why couldn't she just be a teacher like other young women? But by the time she graduated from technical school in the summer of 1890, Maria had once again changed her mind about her career. She wasn't going to become an engineer after all, she told her father. But before Alessandro had a chance to breathe a sigh of relief, Maria made another announcement. She had decided to become a doctor instead. So interesting. That was chapter 1, called School Days. So I'll stop the recording here before the next chapter 2, which is called Taming the Lions. So you heard about Maria Montessori's childhood and up until she went through secondary school, which would be kind of like middle school or high school here. Very interesting stuff.